Hello everyone, my name is Notepad Anon and I write games for fun. So what are we doing today? Today we're going to be working on and towards the dawn some more. Now, last week we did stuff, but we weren't very productive. We weren't super productive. However, I did some work. I did some work, everybody. Namely, if we start from the top of things that kind of got changed, I finally did the lore for the Union and the Tsarists. Both of their lore bits kind of got, kind of hammered out. I could probably do a little bit more down here, but I kind of was going back and forth of what to add, what not to add. So it was like, okay, what do I might change. Still need to do these three. Stalkers are literally just going to be talking about like who the hell stalkers are and what they do. Ferals are going to be more about like here's the magic shit. Learn about the ferals there. And the last row of the salvation is kind of going over more like why do people run away? Like why do people try to leave this situation and like where do people try to go? Generally, if we go down here, if we keep going, we go further. So if we start from A Long Way to Nowhere, yes, I did this entire about 11 pages worth of stuff. So let me explain. Solid. Hi, Notepad. How are you doing? And how did you come up with that name? What name? There's a few. You mean the name and Towards the Dawn or my name? But I'm doing all right. It's been a little bit of a the past. I'd say like the past 2 weeks. My sense of time has gotten really distorted, and I just haven't been. Everything feels about like 2 hours earlier than it should be, so I keep looking down. I'm like, oh, I'm going to stream about 5, and then I look down at the clock, and it's like 8 o'clock already. I'm like, fuck. So that's been kind of entertaining, kind of dealing with the, oh hey, time doesn't mean anything. Where am I? Oh god, oh help. You know, just Notepad things. I'm actually my entire life is just a fucking Seinfeld sketch. But yes, I'm doing all right. And Towards the Dawn kind of became, the name came primarily from a very long session of thinking about it. It's a reference to Russian literature. It's called And Quiet on the Dawn, which is the Dawn River. And the entire idea of that, it's also kind of a double. The double thing with And Towards the Dawn is, as everyone is vampires, the dawn is somewhat scary. It's or not everyone's a vampire, but the dawn is somewhat scary. It's the sun, it's not very positive, but it's also kind of more of a positive connotation along with it. It's, hey, and towards the dawn. The dawn is usually associated with good things, with happy things, but to some people, it's not a good thing. It's kind of a, this is kind of a bad thing we have to worry about. That's kind of what the name came from. Russian literature, classic Russian literature, about the Cossacks, no less, and kind of the dichotomy between being a vampire and hope, which sucks. But yes, welcome to Long Way to Nowhere. The pretty much how the basics of traveling works. Kind of starting from there, we have the day cycle. I've talked about the day cycle before. The day cycle is broken down into 4 quarters: day, midday, dusk, and midnight. Generally speaking, vampires are going to rest at midday, and humans are going to rest at midnight. You pretty much just need to sleep during one of these times. That's all you need to do. You don't have to worry about it too much. You're going to need to, manage the day cycle, ward off their own stability loss, fatigue, and potentially safety, which is kind of more along the idea of if you're driving 90 miles down the road and the person driving hasn't slept in 3 days, you probably are all going to die. So that's just something you kind of got to worry about. This leads to the map. I did decide after a lot of thinking to make the map not 50-kilometer hexes or 10-kilometer hexes. I went with the middle of 25. Now, here's my reasoning for it. In Twilight 2000, the hexes are 10 kilometers, but it's a very different kind of game. You are going far more deliberate in Twilight 2000. Things are a lot slower in that capacity, as you are effectively a military caravan. You're hiking with a lot of equipment, you're hiking with a lot of stuff, and you're not really like outrunning something. You're not really afraid of anything necessarily, and you're supposed to be moving pretty consistently across the map. And some of these maps can get fucking huge, but they are usually always based off of location that you know about. You're always going to open up the travel map, you will always know what you're looking at. I kind of decided that we weren't going to be using real maps necessarily. We're going to be using maps that are kind of filled in over time. So it's 25 kilometers, and now 25 kilometers is roughly, I believe, about 16 miles. Doesn't seem that far. I mean, like, oh wow, you're traveling maybe 30, you might be traveling 16 times if we just do you might be traveling like 60 miles in a quarter of a day. That doesn't seem not a lot. You gotta remember, a vast majority of this territory is no roads, no anything. It's just a pain in the ass to move through. You're effectively off-roading almost 24/7, and you're kind of also going slowly so you don't fucking hit anything. It's not just moving along the road necessarily. It's you driving pretty consistently. You kind of taking stops for a moment. I need to go to the bathroom. Okay, you're going to. It's that. That's kind of what I wanted to get across more than anything. So 25 kilometers was the compromise. Quiet on the Western Front. I wouldn't be surprised if my microphone is being a little bit wonky, McDrussel. I've been having a lot of problems with my audio recently, and it's not just like on Twitch or anything. It's like my computer audio has been kind of weird. So if you guys are noticing something wrong with the audio, it sounds good for me in my pre-test, but I wouldn't be surprised if there's something a little bit wonky with it. I don't know what's going on. I think it's just drivers and updating and shit like that. Just make the hexes the space you can cover for the fuel cost of a gallon. That is, I kind of did that the other direction. Pretty much, it's going to cost you 1 fuel to move your full kind of movement speed, if that makes sense. You're going to get a certain amount of movement points. That's going to cost you your full tank. It's going to cost you a full unit of gas. So kind of the idea there would be you have... Yeah, that might be the case, depending on the kind of headphones, and I am speaking a little bit quieter right now just because my throat hurts. But I'm not sick or anything. I was just talking a lot yesterday. But one of the things to think about there is, for example, let's say you have a power of 5. You effectively have 5 movement points for that quarter of the day. You're allowed to move that far, and that's 1 unit of gas. So if you move all 4 times, you're going to use 4 units of gas. Doesn't seem like a lot, and it's really not, because you're going to be moving potentially 15. We're going to be potentially moving 20 tiles, especially if you are on a road or something like that. In which case, it's only going to get easier for you in the long run. You can go up quite a distance. You can cross the entire map. If you are on a road, you can cross an entire 20 by 23, 24 tile map in an entire day if you are going max speed down a road. Easy. How that Pulitzer Prize winning lore go, it was pain. I knew what I wanted to write, and I wrote it. It was just kind of like combining everything together and like, oh fuck, I need to give this a name finally. Oh no, oh no. It was things like that. So that's kind of like how the gas economy is going to be working a little bit, where you will have consistent gas. You always kind of know how far you can go and how far you can push it, but you always have to kind of realize, like, okay, this is a resource that is going to burn out very quickly. So you need to kind of always start topping off your gas. But you can move pretty consistently, because the largest map that I put out that I was thinking of to give you all an idea, I'm going to bring down to, this is the sample map I made. From point A to point B, if you were to go to other sides of the map, this is roughly the distance from Moscow to St. Petersburg. This is about 700. It's 750 kilometers. Doesn't seem very much, and you can cross it within pretty much a day. Pretty easily, you can cross that in a day. If you're on actual roads with actual laws, and it's not the post-apocalyptic nightmare wasteland, and you have a real fucking car and not a jalopy. Because, like, that's one of the things I kind of gotta put somewhere. I don't quite know where I want to put it yet. Is, like, most of the cars that you're going to be dealing with aren't really, like, what we would consider, like, modern cars. They're jalopies. They are these mashed together cars that barely... There's no, like, auto manufacturing industry anymore, exactly. If you have a car, it's either something that was kind of put together very quickly, or it's a military vehicle of some kind that's more like, yeah, or it's a kind of a mishmash of both. You're driving a technical, effectively, at some points. So it's like, oh, well, that's a long distance, and like, it is, but it really isn't at the same time. So that's kind of the decision on to make that 25 kilometers. How did you feel about single campaign games or release system based around a single concept? They can work. Just make sure that single concept can carry a campaign. Did you do the autistic calculations? Yes. I sat pretty much the entirety of Saturday was me dying internally, trying to figure out the math. What up? And I was actually having like full on like epiphanies, and like everything was, it was like, oh my god, I'm a genius. Like, oh god, I'm a fucking idiot. Because it's very odd when you say 10 kilometers versus 25 kilometers or even 50 kilometers. Where you think like, oh, 50 kilometers, that doesn't sound like a lot. And it truth be told, 50 kilometers is, to give everybody give my Americans some, is about 30 miles. That's not really a lot. Mostly when you say like, oh, how fast does your car go? Oh, it goes 60 miles per hour. Oh, so you can go about 100 kilometers in an hour. Oh. And that's not really a threat anymore. You can cost about 2 tiles in an hour. But then it was like, okay, what do you do with when there's no roads present? What do you do with the cars aren't quite as efficient as they should be? I'm like, okay, so let's pull it back, let's pull it forward. And the distances in like Twilight 2000 is actually a lot smaller, because everything is 10 kilometers, but the maps are very large, but they have to cover a lot more. So it was kind of it was a compromise in a few different directions. That 25, but I think 25 should be decent. Perhaps not the best, but I'll probably bother with my game design later. Go for it. What are we doing? We're working on, well, I'm summarizing what I did over the weekend with And Towards the Dawn. This is a commission project about Soviet vampire road tripping. Dying inside with math, and me dying inside trying to figure out what to do with my weekends. Everybody is working for the weekend. Yes, no, it's I kind of talk about like creating a zone and like how a zone actually functions. And of course, one of the big things I kind of put down here is like, if you want to just make your own, there's nothing stopping you. Just like if you literally have no idea what the hell you're doing, this is what you should kind of think about. So it's kind of the idea of hey, choose what a primary and what's your secondary biome going. So let's take our 2 dice. Our first biome is going to be verdant. A majority of the zone is actually pretty overfilling, overfilling with life and resources. That should be overfilling. Things are doing pretty all right. And our second one is a woodland. So pretty much a vast majority of the territory is actually going to be pretty nice, and there's going to be kind of like sections of wood in there, thick trees and thick trees and vegetation. So it's like, oh, cool. So you're kind of getting the idea of what this area is going to be like. Verdant doesn't necessarily mean friendly, however. That's kind of the idea. Like, there still could be beasties out there that want to eat your face, but hey. They also give them different types. This is going to influence what we're going to be doing today. But then we start talking about the anatomy of a tile. Now, this is where things start getting a little bit wonky. Every single tile is going to have a difficulty rating. It's going to range from simple, open, rough, challenging, arduous, grueling, and impassable. This is the number of movement points you effectively need to enter it. So if you are entering a shitty location, if you're trying to enter a fucking swamp, guess what, kids? That swamp is going to be challenging. You need to spend 3 movement points to actually get in there. 3 fucking movement points to move through this territory. Your car is not going to survive this. Your car is not going to appreciate your bullshit. Your car is not going to have fun doing this at all. That being kind of like one of the oh, well, this is awful. It's going to be very slow, but the big thing is you can always enter a tile even if you don't have the required movement. However, you'll need to make a pain check by the difference. So let's say if we're entering a tile that's difficulty 3 and we only have 1, I'm going to take 2d10. I'm going to roll. And I would have taken 9 damage to our frame. Our car is getting real messed up because we're pushing it a little bit too far in bad terrain, bad areas, not working. Now, this is also going to go down to the tile's infrastructure, how well developed it is for transportation, which is pretty much what kind of roads are on there, where it's like, oh, there are just paths. These are Blood War roads. These are relatively recent, but still paved. Or these are actual highways before the big war, which is oh, it's pre-Flash Wars. Oh, okay. So, and this reduces the difficulty down. So, for example, if you see the swamp there, it's challenging. If we have an actual honest-to-God road going through the swamp, it's going to go from challenging, 1 to 2. It's going to go to open, or even simple, which is the number of movement points you need to go down to it. So, if you're in a rough location, follow the road, because that's going to be the best way for you to actually get somewhere by using fuel. You can off-road all you want, because maybe the people are on the road, obviously, but it might cost you a lot more fuel, it might cost you a lot more resources, it might cost you a lot more blood doing it. So like usual, does anyone know where I can find a decent new VCR? How hard would it be to take over 1D4chan? New VCR? No idea in that regard. 1D4chan? Root will never give up 1D4chan. I can tell you that. Cars are customizable. Yes. That is, I do plan on cars being pretty customizable. It's mostly going to be pretty simple stuff to customize, but it's reduce the difficulty point, reduce this, reduce the difficulty, get more movement points, get more of this, improve your handling. With the idea being that you're substituting space in exchange for stuff. Yeah, 1D came back from the dead. It has been a few weeks being down already. Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised. I wouldn't be surprised if Root just didn't update something or he finally killed it. Motorbikes. Motorbikes, I have been... It's pretty explicitly, we've been doing it with cars. I mean, if you want to do motorbikes, the idea would be you would need to create a vehicle like that, and it's very simple. It would just be really fast with absolutely no space. That would be the big problem, is you have no space. It's pretty much whatever you can strap to the back of your fucking bike, which isn't going to be a lot, but maybe that's okay. Maybe that's fine. Will 1d4 come back from the dead? No. I don't think 1d4 I'm amazed it's lasted this long. I remember the last 1d4 crisis. The issue is 1d4 is from a different time. And the guy who does it, Root. Sidecar, you forgot the sidecar. Yeah, it's things like sidecars and shit. Like that's what you'd be like, I need to stick all my fuel in there. And the issue is that it was from a different era of TG. It was from a different era of people. It was a different group. And TG changed, and 1d4 didn't change. I still think there's a lot of things on there which are very good. I actually saved quite a few different projects on 1d4 a long time ago. I still think I have all of them, but I saved quite a few of them because I thought it was important. Yes, Mosaic is something I wanted to revive. Yeah, I'm not going to say I found everything. Not even necessarily election tourists, but I think it was just Nazi mod happens, then the quest shenanigans occurred, and then people started getting real tribal. I think that was one of the big things. It was people started getting really tribal after quests. I can do my big thing on TG. You know what? Fuck, I can do. One of the big ideas, like one of the problems is I think TG started getting a little bit funky with quests after quests happened. And I say that not in defense of or against quests. I'm saying when quests went away, which I do believe they should have gotten their own board, by the way. I completely support quests getting their own board. The issue was the way that it was done. The way that it was done was very aggressive and very draconian, and that should have been a lot more of a gradual process moving from A to B, but it wasn't. And I think there was a lot of false flagging with quests. I think there was a lot of people. I think the situation was not as extreme or as like not extreme like as people make it out to be. I think people kind of have goggles on both directions. Yeah, I know, because the issue with quests was, like, there were quite a few quests. There were a lot of quests. And for every good quest you found, there was usually, like, there was either a really bad one or, like, it's an obvious shit post one. Because you would find, like, oh, hey, here's Nerve Bridge Commander, which, fun artwork, has its own little system, very well put together. But then you'd also have like Lollyfoot Nari quest, where it's just like, oh, like that didn't go anywhere. But people would open up the catalog and see Lollyfoot Nari quest and be like, oh. And then you get things like Tower Girls, for example, or Bro Quest. Anyone remember Bro Quest? You get a lot of these, and Bro Quest, yeah, it's Bro Quest was one of those ones. Nice artwork. I don't think anything ever came of it. It gets posted every now and again. But the thing is, quests went away by gunpoint. That was kind of the issue. I think they deserve their own board because actual QST is really, really nicely laid out. And you have a lot of tools for it, threads that link together, larger threads. You can actually color different posts so you know who the OP is. It's cool. It's really cool, actually. The issue was, again, they were forced out by gunpoint. And what happened there was everybody started viewing it as, this is my tribe. I spoke nothing when quests were eliminated. Am I next? Is CYOA next? Is Jump Chain next? Is what's next? And I think a lot of people started getting really tribal and started putting themselves in the generals a lot more, because it was like, yes, this is a general, we're fine, and we're contained. This is our community. You can't make us go away. Hey, this is us. You can't make us go away. We're good. We're good. We're good. And I think, yeah, TG got hurt by tribalism. Effectively, it's that. And the thing is, everybody always says, "Oh, 40K should get its own board. 40K should get its own board because 40K is such a massive thing on the board." Or, "Oh, hey, you don't belong on the board. CYOA doesn't belong on the board. Jump Chain doesn't belong on the board." Because everybody is worried that they're going to be next, so everyone started getting really kind of stuck in their own little circles. Because you got to remember, Draco, you have to remember this very important, Draco Archer. It's a lot like 40K. TG was originally the 40K board because 40K got exiled from Toy. That was the entire reason we came to exist. TG came to exist was it got exiled from Toy. And because originally, if you wanted to talk D&D back in 2004, you would have to go to Toy. Or you would be in like you would end up in like different weird places. It was early days. Things got weird. Things were weird back then. It's generally speaking, it's people. I think there was a little bit of fear that people were like, we're going to be targeted next, or something else is going to go on. And I think that's when the hostilities started really sprouting up. It was just like, oh, 40 kids, oh, D&D drones, oh. And I think that's where you get things like, oh, it's Mecha Mondays now. It's like, that's where like the Game Design Guild, when it was originally the Game Design General, got kind of purged. Is people started getting angry at one another because, well, this isn't right. But it's like, oh, well, you shouldn't do this. This is the way that it should. This is the way you should play elf games. You're having fun wrong and shit like that. And I think that was the time when a lot of those devs started leaving. Like people like Viral, for example. Viral left TG. Not like, I don't believe it was out of like, I'm done with this board and hate everything about it. It's just like time happened. People got older. People moved on with their lives. It was 5-6 years of working with them, and people started getting angry at one another. I think the problem with like 1D4chan, kind of bringing it full circle a little bit, is 1D4chan is from a very particular era, and that very particular era was people weren't as tribal. We were a lot friendlier with one another. It was a lot more community driven, a lot more friendly. And a lot of people went into it thinking it's going to be like that without understanding the new tribalism that sprouted around it. And they try to be like, lol, look everybody, it's a low rage thread. And it's like, oh, it's 40 kids being 40 kids again. Oh, it's D&D drones being D&D drones, or people would post the old green texts. That's why you don't see green text stories anymore. Because people got so angry at them. It's just kind of a mess. What's the history with 7 and 8 channel? A lot of the other chans sprouted up for various reasons because Moot, this is when Moot was still in charge. Moot ran a tight ship. Generally speaking, Moot ran a pretty tight ship. His philosophy was very much keep your shit together and discuss things anonymously. Don't discuss radical bullshit. A lot of the things like 7 and 8 chan, a lot of those sprouted up as, well, we got banned from 4chan, so we're just going to make our own. We're going to make our own toy box. And what happens if you try to make your own toy box is the weird kids show up, and they all want to be part of the toy box as well, which kind of changes the community and how it goes, because you don't want to get rid of those initial community members because they built everything. The issue with TG right now, creatively speaking, is that there are a lot of people who do not want you to create a new thing. Well, not actually, no. That's, yeah, Moot got a job at Google. Mood got a job at Google, heading up their like Google Plus stuff, which failed dramatically. He's still working there, but one of the things that occurred that was a little bit more bizarre with TG, he works at Google, is the people still are creative, but people get shit on a lot more for being creative because it's not the right kind of creativity. This isn't like, this isn't what I want. This isn't an immediate product like, like you see on 1D4chan. Like, people don't realize, like, Car Lesbians was not like a single thread. He didn't immediately produce Car Lesbians. That's not the case. It was, Car Lesbians was multiple threads, many people talking about it, and probably viral, thinking about it on his own. Why did the China? No, it's he was a Japanese guy, Hiroshi Moot. Hiroshi Moot was one of the major people behind 2chan / Fatuba-chan. He's pretty much 4chan's big brother. He was a major player behind that. And he's like a big he's a big tech guy. He literally bought it because he views it as like his spawn. Like, I'm not fucking with you either. That was like the reason why he bought it. Because he wanted to. Because the 2chan Fatuba-chan split was kind of a mess. Yeah, green is not a creative color. That is effectively exactly what it is. Because I think everybody wants the cool and amazing creative thing like that. They just want it immediately. They don't want to put any of the work behind it because they don't realize that of the games that were on like 1D4chan, for example, there were many, many that did not make it. Is 2chan more or less racist than 4chan? What the fuck? The fuck is 2chan? The 4chan was originally the American version of a Japanese website called 2chan. And 2chan was an image board. And 2chan is kind of set up the exact same way. It's a lot different here. Let me see if I can. We're doing fucking 2chan lore. It's a pain in the ass to find. Just because of the way that it's set up. But yeah, this is technically now 5chan, but it's not, because there was a big issue with like, yeah, you kind of see it. This is, yeah, a guy named Jim Watkins owns 5channel, which isn't it, but yeah, founded 2channel in 1999 while at the University in Arkansas. This was how he wanted to do things. He was the original founder. Then things started getting broken. Then you got other people to work together and dislike one another. And then there was a lot of different issues. But now the Fatuba-channel is kind of this is what we would kind of traditionally refer to as the traditional, Japanese 4chan. This was the OG, you could say. It's a messy combination of things, but when you're talking about it, it's 2chan.net. This is the main thing. You kind of even see it's got his Twitter here. Welcome to Fatuba admin. It gets a little bit wonky. Hiroshi Moot owns this site as well. I believe Hiroshi Moot. Let me see if I can find. There's like a 50% chance it's gonna be porn. So give me let me just double check. Yeah, you get things like vegetables, alcohol. Yeah, they have a lot more random fucking railway. You want to talk about the Japanese rail system? And if you're looking at this, you're like, that looks a lot like 4chan. And the answer is yeah, because this is what these were. If you want to talk about, some of these threads are from fucking like 20. You kind of see here, like, you see this has been around for a while. A lot of these, they shit post the exact. This is an entire board dedicated to railways in Japan. for Raylo Taku. This is an entire thing for alcohol, for sweet drinks, for food, because they felt like it. Because this is just a thing that they like. That's just something I did find somewhere in here. They actually have the tabletop one, but just to kind of give you an example of how many two-dimensional, 2D back, not for reproduction, can be reproduced, 2D ID, Spiegler, Fate Go has its own, Idolmaster, Uhara General, games, net games, social games, Ship This, Maui, sword dancing, fortune telling, the parenting board, everybody. You want to learn how to do the parenting board. Let's do a social games. I believe that would be that's our perpetual nightmare. Let's this is not our perpetual nightmare. Net games. Let's let's go to the parenting board, everybody. Why not? Let's go to parenting. You want to learn how to be a better parent? Let's go to 2chan to learn how to be a better parent. I always knew, and some of these things are from like this is from almost a year ago. Like it's a very different way of looking at things, but it's very you want to do you want to do yaoi comics, like, yeah, it's here, have no fear. Let's home built PCs, toys. You want to talk to? Let's go to the toys section. Want to have the model behind the VTuber, synthetic voice, politics, the economy. Let me see if I can find there's actually a very specific one for tabletop games. They don't call it fucking tabletop games though, because we can't have a nice thing. Toho, you want Toho? Military stuff. You know, religion things. Cool, let's talk about religion on 2chan here real fast. That'll be cool. I know it's here somewhere. I don't know where I would find it though. That's kind of the issue. I believe these are all the games. Bicycles, cameras. There's a very specific one where it is, and I don't know where it is, and it's going to make me feel sad till I find it. But no, that's Booba. Look at this cat. Look at this fucking cat. But yeah, you've kind of get the idea of what's Fatuba-chan, which is 2chan. It's going to be 6-2, don't do it! I did actually find the TG one. It was on a weirder one. They actually had it as a correct one. So as the guy who bought it's going to be a good owner for 2 Toho boards, yes. Yeah, it's hella racist. You know, it's Japanese racism. Yeah, so 4chan's Western 2chan, yeah, pretty much. So this guy who bought it, it's how do I want to word this? Hiroshi Mood has tried to his best to make 4chan a lot more palatable. Hence why it's not 4chan anymore. Fun fact, everybody. You go to 4chan. If you go to 4chan, type this in. Make sure my connection is secure. You see this. It's like, oh, here are all our boards. Here's everything there. If I go to, I want to go traditional games. I'm not on 4chan anymore. That's one of the big things. I'm not on 4chan. I'm on 4channel. And you kind of see here, this is a very restricted list. Because one of the big things is 4chan was actually getting really kind of poo-pooed on for a while there. For a variety of reasons. Most notably, it was kind of getting fucked over because of things like poll, for example. Now, it shifted. Now, if you want to now 4chan, if I I do 4chan.org, it just redirects here. But if you go to something like Poll, for example, you're on 4chan. That's the idea. If I have an ad blocker on, so he did put ads on a lot more actively, but it's a lot more... Wasn't 4chan used as a staging ground for terrorist attacks that got caught by the FBI? 4chan was in there for a bit. They were using Telegram for a while. They were using Reddit at some points. They were using Facebook. The thing is, a lot of those organizations were using them, or was using things like 4chan and these things because it's anonymous. Yeah, no, it's like, how are you going to see when Andrew Ayala is shitposting? I don't have it on my phone, so anytime I browse TG on my phone, I get to see all the great ads. But, yeah, Hiroshi Mood has done... I think he's done a lot of good things, like splitting up the V board a lot. Like, he split the... He split V up very heavily into a lot of different little categories to make sure that people kind of understood. And there has been a lot of different changes in different directions. Generally speaking, I think he's been doing a decent job. He split up V and it's still too damn fast. Exactly. The other Vs can be useful every now and again. They're pretty active. Like, all of the V boards are far more active than TG. TG, though, I would still consider TG to be like middle ranking on like how fast things are. Like, the fastest board is A by far. Like, I would say the fastest board is A or V by far. Like, easily those. If you are not paying attention, your thread will sage within an hour. Like, you do not. You need to, you will hit bump limit very quickly. Co can be that way. Wasn't TG most populated and active when quests were on? TG wasn't the most populated or active. The way of wording it was kind of weird. Because one of the issues there, Lubu, was that quests used to be on a bunch of different boards. But then all those boards and all their moderators were like, no, we don't want quests anymore. We're going to go to TG. Everything must get sent to TG. So you would have A posters, you would have C co-posters, you would have a bunch of these different posters that kind of got put together. And that was kind of where the issue was. They weren't really part of... Hello from THP, where all the JP quests moved to. Yeah, it's... A lot of the quests got moved to TG, and sometimes they just didn't do very well. Other times it was a very populated board, but it was a very populated board for a very small part of it. If that makes sense. It was like, oh, everyone goes to this restaurant, but 90% of the people here are only going to get the burger, not the other 30 items on the menu. They only want a single thing. So they're like, it made complete sense why they put quests on a different board. It made complete sense. And so that's the brief history of TG. Yeah, it's like I could talk about things like 2016 and things like that, but it's the story there is pretty. What's the slowest board now? Slowest board gets a little like, that's always kind of a hard discussion to have. Because generally speaking, interests usually tend to be a little bit slower. I say others tend to be a little bit slower. Like, travel usually doesn't seem like a super lot, like a super duper lot. Perrin X sees a decent chunk, but like Pony doesn't see anything really anymore for obvious fucking reasons. VIP is probably the absolute slowest. You see, this is from a thread from 21. Like, you don't. But the thing is, you have to buy you have to buy a 4chan pass to get to access VIP, so it doesn't really happen. Robot 9K sometimes happens. Poll's probably very, very active. You can probably see when it gets to a little bit more active things, like fashion probably isn't as active, roughly, comparatively speaking. DIY probably doesn't see as many posts as something like A or something. You kind of get that idea. But Poe will always be the best, though. I will always cite that Poe is any single time you see something go wrong in life, anytime you see something scary or unnatural, you may say, always blame it on Poe. Poe is the mastermind behind 4chan. Every single thing that goes wrong, every terrorist attack, every monster, every disastrous situation, it's on Poe. There's a flashboard still around. Where's the YouTube series on TG history? The thing is, TG history has been so poorly recorded and also really well recorded. Any history would be, you would need to be almost like very biased on the fact. And then you would get people accusing you of being a shill. Like, people yell at me being like, oh, you're just using TG for clout chasing or whatever. And I'm like, not really. I'm not as bad as people like who is it? Beard what is it? Fuck, what's his name? There's Guard Bro, he's pretty bad. Rogania? What am I thinking of? Yeah, help me out here, guys. Neckbeardia, that's it. Neckbeardia. Neckbeardia is pretty fucking bad about real fucking bad. Like, he's pretty bad about that. And I don't blame him. I really don't blame people. Who's the lowest life form? People who pay for 4chan or people who pay for Twitter? Here's the thing. You get... With 4chan, with the paths, you at least don't have to do the captchas. You don't have to do... You're not doing the captchas. No one can really sense it. And if you do, it's kind of like a... You're paying for 4chan to get to use the sites of the features of the site better. Yeah, we all know Notepad relies on his massive TG clout to get 11 viewers on his stream. Exactly. It's the thing with Twitter Blue. This is an important thing too. This is a very important facet of this. Is you do not. It's not a monthly fee for the 4chan pass. It's a one and done thing. Yeah, you just have to pay. You pay it once, and you have the 4chan pass effectively. It's let's see, 4chan pass. You buy it once. Oh, it's $20 a year. Yeah, it's. I actually thought it was just 20, but yeah, it's. You can. Yeah, you want to just buy $20. Yeah, currently we are accepting. Now this is the interesting bit, and this I can tell you why a lot of people don't use it. Currently we are accepting Bitcoin, Bitcoin Cash, DAI, Dogecoin, Ethereum, Litecoin, and USDC. You would need to buy crypto to actually buy the pass. Don't do that. 12 months and date of purchase. Generally speaking, you do get stuff a little bit more out of this than you would with Twitter. Twitter, it's like $5 a month. which in 4 months you've already went past the amount of money it's worth. So have fun with that. Remember, everybody. Is 4chan really self-sustaining at this point? Not really. $8 a month. I mean, it was five. 4chan, I believe it pays its bills on ads alone. Like, it does pay its bills, I think, just barely, though. Like, it's not like a profitable website. It's not like something that's going to make $1 billion. I think Moot sold it to Hiroshi Moot for about $1 million. But that was more, I think it was, truth be told, I think it was a lot more of a vanity thing. And I think Hiroshi Moot wanted it just so he has a little bit more legitimacy with Fatuba. I think that was a very big thing with it. Which he wanted more legitimacy with Fatuba in different places. I'm amazed, mind you. I'm fucking amazed that he does not more actively try to get Fatuba posters on 4chan and 4chan posters on Fatuba. I'm fascinated he doesn't try that. Probably if you go to JP. If 4chan goes down, will there be a whole new channel, or will this be another migration? If 4chan goes down, if let's say tomorrow Hiroshi Mood kills it with a fucking thunderous axe, most likely people will drift to different communities. I think places like Discord are gonna get a big... There's gonna be a shit ton of places on like Discord, for example, which are going to get things a lot more. I think you're going to get a lot more people on... I think there will be a new Chan, or at least a spiritual successor, or something like that. Like, there is going to be a... There will be a successor. I don't think it's going to happen anytime soon. I think Hiroshi Moot's going to fight tooth and nail. Fucking Red Bull. Ads. Watch the ads. Give me money. But, I don't really think... I don't think Hiroshi Moot's ever going to really give it away. I don't think that's what he wants. I don't think that's his plan. It's... 4chan's going to die when it's... Because one thing I'm worried about, certain about, is the archives and someone just killing them because they got rid of them. I think the archives will still be there as long as people are paying the website hosting fees effectively. But I don't... It's one of those things, when 4chan goes away, it's not going to be a win for anybody. Because then we'll have to go... See, if you want to be a big meme, is then everyone will start going to Crystal Cafe, everybody. Have no fear, squad. It's time to go to Crystal Cafe Gaming. Crystal Cafe really is a fascinating place, and I think everyone should go on there at least once. Not post anything. Absolutely. Never post a thing on Crystal Cafe. They will find you. But just go on there and observe. Crystal Cafe. Okay. I'm going to do a quick run over of Crystal Cafe, because we're already on this, so why not? Crystal.cafe. Yeah, this is, generally speaking, this is, I guess you would call this femcel. Yeah, I guess you would call this femcel, femcel. Yeah, it's yeah, if you want yeah, it's effectively femcel 4chan. I love them. I love everyone here. I think they're all amazing. And they should be cherished. Like, I think all of them should be incredibly cherished, and because they are all beautiful, and I care about all of them, and they are beautiful. Yeah, some of these are pretty old at this point. You can probably find more about it, but why be a femcil? Just have sex yourself. It's not about that. It's about a person. It's personality. McDrew. It reminds me of that one drawing being like, it doesn't, you could be the ugliest person in the world. It doesn't matter, but as long as you have a positive look on life. Is there a big nerd website that's been hidden from the mainstream or where people go for more or less to make new shit? No. Unless you're talking about like weird obscure fucking forums, or you're either looking at weird obscure forums or like discords named like, or it's going to be like a Discord name like Cumfuck or something, where someone's designing the next great American novel or something. That's just how it goes. Hello everybody, here's the 30 people in my server. I'm writing the greatest game known to human history. I just hate everyone and I think the Jews are behind it. Like, yeah, a lot of those old forums have been around for fucking ever. The giant in the playground still exists, my friends. Yeah, yeah, we're thinking the same. We're thinking the same thing. Clown to clown communication. Yeah, the weird obscure forums are really, you get to find some good stuff. Good things, good people. That's all you can really hope for in life. Speaking about good things and good people, let's get back to me going over things. Because yeah, remember when I was going over how to do things? Generally speaking, we have our tile infrastructure, how things are going to be going there. Then we have feature tiles. Feature tiles were supposed to be a little bit more like, this is a lake, this is a cliff, this is a mountain. Some of them are going to be a little bit more special than others. Like, obviously, like, hey, there's just a mountain here. It's just a giant fucking mountain in the middle of everything. Or, hey, there's a river here. And if you choose to have a river, you're just going to do it. Inhabited tiles got a little bit wonky, being like, I let them roll quite a few different tables here. So for example, let's say our inhabited location type. Let's bring up my inhabited location 5. So we're going to be making an outpost, and let's see our population. We're going to do 2. We're an outpost, and we have 16, 17. We have 19 people living in the outpost. Who are we loyal to? We are loyal. We are independent. Let's see our primary population. Primary population is mostly composed of humans, and we have what's the percentage? What's the percentage of our population that is human? 24-31. That puts us at 91% of our people in this little outpost, otherwise known as majority of those 25 people, are just going to be our human. There's like 1 or 2 vampires. Let's see what our prosperity is. Prosperity, we are incredibly wealthy. Way more wealthy in this little outpost than anything. Now this is by comparison. Generally speaking, this is kind of the by comparison more than anything. So you're doing really well off for yourself here. Since we are independent, let's roll. What do we do here? Technically we are a technocracy. That's probably why we're very rich. The intelligentsia, scholars and thinkers all dominate the political space. We're a bunch of tech hunters. We hang out in our little area. We have a lot of gear, a lot of very nice equipment. Where, man, the smartest of us lead us, because it's just a little outpost in the middle of nowhere. Ta-da! That's how you make a settlement. God, I was reading Order of the Stick. I read Order of the Stick years ago, and I'm like, okay, I think I've made a pretty good far. I'm gonna wait till it finishes, and like, Oh, geez. But yes. Then we started getting into planning the journey. This is the part where things get a little bit wonky, and I need to explain this a little bit better detail. Let's see. One of the big ideas behind planning the journey is once you've pretty much writ out what it's going to look like, that should be it. There's the catch. The thing is here is anytime when they enter a new zone, they're going to be making a worldly check, depending on whatever they want to kind of do. And it's the secrecy of the features. A well-known city might be 5, a secluded vampire enclave might be devilish. But while they may not know them, inevitably they will still make judgments and determine what they've rolled. Kind of give you an idea on this, so we go down to Alexi and Natalia have entered a new zone. Natalia rolls reason plus worldly, and while Alexi rolls his sense plus worldly. Natalia scores a 2, 6, 7, Alexi a 5, 6, 6, 7, and 10. Alexis notes and realizes the iron gates are small but known, and the independent city of Mira is famous for its goods. Target number 4. Generally speaking, the more successes you apply to a single location, the more you're going to learn about it, the more you're going to know about it going forward. So you can say, okay, I want to spend 1 success and I'm going to be the one to place down Mira. Where is Mira on this map? So you're going to say, okay, I think Mira's right there. It's right in the middle of the map or something. And if you apply, let's say 2 more of her successes, because 1 more of her success, to that, she says, okay, what's Mira like? And the narrator says, like, okay, Mira is a relatively, it's a very large city. They really deal with a lot of goods. What are you kind of looking to? What do you think you know about? Being like, what's it govern? What's its stance on vampires? Stance on vampires is very positive. They don't really give a shit who the fuck you are as long as you make the money. Okay, easy enough to understand. But then we go to the other, then we go to Alexi, and Alexi says, hey. Alexi says, okay, we know where Mira is. We know where Mira is. Let's apply another die to Mira and be like, okay, and like, what's its government? And be like, hey, okay, government, kind of saying before, it's a plutocracy. Currently, the guy in power has just a shit ton of money, and it's a merchants guild heading everything up. So as long as you have the dosh, you can find it in Mira. Oh, okay, easy enough to understand. Beat my bitch ass Company of Heroes 3. I keep seeing people talk about Company of Heroes 3. So it's like, okay, we learned a lot about Mira, but Alexi says, okay, where's the Iron Gate? And where's the Iron Gate? And and what's it about? I mean, like, okay, the Iron Gate is here. Alexi says, okay, I want the Iron Gate to be right here. And it is headed almost exclusively by a bunch of, it's very union. It's not a very large base, but it's very well fortified. No one's getting in there without either going guns blazing, probably dying, or they have to negotiate their way through. Okay, easy enough. Then he applies his 10, being like, what's the general area knowledge? GM's like, okay, there's one thing you should know about. There's a massive fucking mountain range, and that's what the Iron Gates protects. They protect this one way into this very nice area. They keep everybody in this shitty zone. Oh, okay, easy enough to understand. The 2 players have put down what's actually in there, what's actually on the map, what they know, but you should kind of bring in a variety of different locations. You can lock some information if you want. You're always going to lock the crossroads. And your difficulty is going to be kind of depending on where things are. If you're a well-known part of the zone, basic knowledge is pretty simple to understand, but the Zachariah compound is secretive. It's going to be a lot harder. when you're presenting the information, you should be able to present them all the information of what they can know about. And it's like, oh, hey, what's this little known settlement? You want to learn about where this little known settlement is, or do you want to know about more about Mira? What's kind of the idea here? If you roll really well, you can either place down a lot of places so you know exactly where they are, or you can learn about a lot of places, or learn about a lot about a single place to get a better idea of what you're getting into. So Alexia and Natalia decided that they wanted to learn most about Mira because that's where they're going to be going. It's an important thing for them to know about Mira. And this is just what you know. Entering a city that was known for a democratic state and having it under strict dictatorship may spell something a bit mysterious going on, warranting investigation. General knowledge of the zone is determined by the leg of the journey, which is increasing by 2 steps every time. Pretty much, the farther away you get from home, the harder it is to actually even know where the fuck you are. You're entering unknown, uncharted, dangerous territory, and you're kind of just winging it. What is Company of Heroes? RTS game. Real-time strategy, fairly well known. I've had people get into fights over Company of Heroes 1 versus 2. I liked Company of Heroes 1 more than 2. But I understand why people like 2. I will say, of Relic game, I preferred the Dawn of War series, which I have the entire Dawn of War series. I might play that on stream one time. That could be fun. I can become the 40 kids. I always knew I could be. Oof. Snap everything into let me just snap everything into place yet again. Owie zowie, my bony wonies. So when you start moving across the ash, the big idea is, it's a power attribute that's going to be your total movement points you're going to receive per quarter of the day cycle. You can move as far or as little as you want. One of the big things you can do is you can set the pace. You can set it to leisurely, cruising, sprinting, or flying. The main thing, though, is that if you are leisurely going along, you're going to have half as many points. You're going to lose a lot of your movement points, and everything rounds down. So you might be only moving very slowly across an area, but you're only going to be using half a unit of fuel. So you want to spend a majority of the day just cruising, just having a nice time, just leisurely driving across the countryside. You're going to recover your stability a lot faster. You're going to be able to recover it. You're not going to spend as much fuel, but it's also taking you half the day to get barely anywhere. You're really taking your time. Cruising is kind of the base default. You're always going to do a little bit of recovery by virtue of just you're in a car and you are able to rest. You're not in immediate danger. But when you start going to sprinting, you're going to start taking pain damage. You're going to start actually having to say, okay, we are going pretty fast. I've taken 6 stability damage, while the car has taken 9. It's like, you're going a lot faster than you should, but you've 1.5 on your movement points. But if you're flying, you pedal to the fucking metal. You're burning a lot more fuel. You're doubling the amount of fuel, but you're doubling your movement points. Which, if you need to get through an area, that might be the best way to do it, but you're going to be taking 4d10, you're going to roll those dice, and suddenly you look at it and you've taken 10 stability damage. You've taken 10 stability because you're going 110 miles down the road, 110 miles per hour down the fucking road. You're not stopping at all. You do not get a chance to rest, to relax, to actually have a moment of respite. That's kind of the big thing. You have just no moment to actually just rest for a second. And it's going to reflect on your car, and that's not a very good thing for you. Kind of go over to the idea of who's driving. If no one can drive, then you're not doing anything. If you ever walk, you have 1 movement point. Walking is really dangerous. because walking is incredibly slow and you're going to take a lot of pain. Especially if you're in kind of a bad area. Like, yeah, okay, hike through 16 miles of fucking swamp. Yeah, you're going to have a grand time. You're going to be having a ball. Kind of tie everything together, it's like, okay. So, that brings us to where we need to do this today, which is the, bare necessities, do. Yes, now, generally speaking, we need to do the bare necessities and wasteland survival guide. That's kind of the, plan there. So, let's get to it. So, bare necessities, Let's see. During their travels, the drifters will need to take care of themselves to survive. The harsh. Clinker? What the fuck? Never knew that was a word. I mean, you can. I've seen it done once before. I can't tell where, but I've seen it. Let's see. During the trial, we'll need to take care of themselves to survive. We'll need to take care of themselves to survive the wasteland. The primary three thing. Overall, the drifters need to worry about three things: sustenance, rest. Let's see. Food, shelter, water. Food, shelter. Actually, let's see. Maslow's hierarchy of needs. Where's the real version? Where's tax evasion on the real? Let's see. Drifters need to worry about three things: sustenance, rest, and recovery. Sustenance, rest, and recovery. Eating your boots. The drifters need to keep themselves fed. Need to keep themselves fed to keep going, rather than track every caloric intake. And glass of water. All they need to manage is the amount of foodstuff and blood they have. Foodstuff is the rough amalgamation. Amalgamation, because it's a funny word. Amalgamation of edible material. Actually, amalgamation of food and water to keep a human healthy and happy. Each human needs one unit of foodstuff a day to keep themselves. To keep themselves going. Let's see. To avert starvation. Consuming another helping of food. Consuming another helping of foodstuff. Consuming another helping of foodstuff will, well, grants 1D recovery to stability. Grants 1D recovery to stability. Increasing rations, or just let's see. Or just clearing out the boot. No, really, it's trunk. Clearing out, or just clearing out the. Actually, no, clearing out the boot. Fuck it. We're just clearing out the boot. On the other hand, vampires require one unit of blood. This is often contained in small 500 3 milliliter glass jars. Let's see. These are often contained in small 300 milliliter 500. What did I end up saying? Blood. The blood dye, not the blood dye. Fundamentally game of terrible and bloody situations. Blood alone, blood, sweat, and tears, bloodlust, bloodied. Give me humans. What did I end up putting in, like 500 of blood daily? Okay, so actually we can do yeah, in small often contained in small 300 mil 250 to 300 350 250 to 350 milliliter jars, containers or blood packs, actually check blood pack in milliliters. Yeah, white blood typical volume is 250 milliliters per, yeah, for blood packs. There we go. Cool. Require 1 unit of blood. This is often contained in small containers or blood packs. Vampires may mitigate the need for drinking blood by consuming 2 units of foodstuff. Vampires may mitigate the need for drinking blood by consuming 2 units of foodstuff, but does not recover stability. They do not recover stability. They do not recover stability if they do so. But they will take 1d pain. 1d pain from they will take. So pretty much you're taking Yeah, it's like, oh, you just eat food but not drink blood. You're taking like 7 stability damage. It's like, ow, like you're taking 1 to 10 stability just because you are fucking hungry and you want to eat actual blood because you need it. If the drifter does not if a drifter does not consume the does not eat during the day, they gain a tick of starvation. They gain a quote tick of starvation. They will taking 1d pain. Taking 1d pain. If they go another day, this increases by 2. Then this increases by plus 2d plus 2d. For each day, 3d. They gain a tick of starvation, taking 1d. Go another day. This increases 2d for a 3d pain. 3d pain in total. Actually, no. How do I want to? They gain a tick of starvation. They cannot regain. They cannot regain any stability by resting. They cannot regain any stability by resting. If they are starving, if they take 3 ticks of starvation, they will take 3d. They will take 3d 3d pain check daily until they have 6 ticks. So they have 6 ticks of starvation. Then they will 4d plus 4d pain. Actually, hey, notepad. Guess what that means? Let's run an ad. Yay, running ads. That's not. Let's see. So if a drifter, does not eat during the day, they gain a tick of starvation. Actually, they increase. Until every 3 days, this increases by 1 step until 5. How many pay notepads I can save up to do in a row? Remember, there is about, I believe there's about like a 5-minute gap in between each ad I can run. So don't spend like, oh, I want to spend like 800 like ads because it's just I'm probably going to forget at least one of them as I try to run them consistently. I'm gonna bump up the value of Pay Notepad though, probably bump to 2,500, make it a little bit more more even. They will perish regardless of condition. Each tick of starvation has the, let's see, each step of starvation. Let's see, each step of starvation will, let's see, will reduce the total stability of the, let's see, will reduce the total stability of the, actually, of the drifter by 5. Again, we have to wait. Yeah, let's see. It's just like, hey, you recently ran an ad. Please do not run more ads. So I will make sure to remember that. Let's see. Each step of starvation will reduce the total stability of the drifter by 5. So if you effectively you let's see, so it would be day one, starve 1, day 4, starve 2, day 7, starve 3, starve 4, day 13, starve 5, death. But like at this point, you're at like -20. You're at negative 20 stability, which as a vampire, you are almost permanently going to be frenzying at this point. You're not going to be having a good time, but that's 10 days without you literally eating anything. Because let's see, how long can a person live without food? For as early as a few days. Last about 10 days, when rare it can last several weeks. So yeah, about 10 days, and like, at that point, you're pushing it. And this is, mind you, you gotta remember this. This is also factoring in you just not getting hurt as well. You're just going 10 days with not hurting. You know, it's like, oh, I'm not eating, I'm not drinking, I'm not doing anything, I'm just dying. Like, if I'm just not eating. So if you get shot, like, that's for hospice patients who are a little more fragile. Remember, you gotta remember, Corporal, you are eating about 1 meal a day. you are a little, like, it's one of those things, like, the conditions and food you're actually eating is not good quality food. Like, you're not really having like a full course meal when you eat a thing of food stuff. Like, you are not healthy right now. You are not exactly in a good place, especially when it comes to things like vampires. Though I do think that is fair, like, as a vampire, if you are eating absolutely nothing for a few days, you're gonna go bonkers pretty quick. Which is, citing the original show, Fine for a vast majority of the show was very low stability. She was not ballin'. She was not ballin' at all. Like, no part of Fine was a happy camper. She pretty much kept her shit going by eating whatever she could and really desperately trying not to drink blood. It was only kind of near the end there when she actually got a little bit of food because of Momo that she was like, okay, I've kind of recovered a little bit much. I just have a lot of extenuating circumstances there that's causing my stability to crash and burn with no survivors. Like, oh no. Let's see. So, well, let's see. Starvation dissipates by 1 step every day. That the drifter has an actual Has an actual meal. Has an actual. Every stub that the drifter has an actual meal. Because the big thing, again, it's a little bit of opportunity cost here, which is the idea of, yeah, I don't need to eat. Here's the thing, I don't need to eat much. On the other hand, this is the thing, like, on the other hand, I'm also losing my stability, which we don't know if we're going to be losing stability. We don't know if we're going to be losing more of it, putting us in more danger. And if we're in the middle of a fight, you want to be topped off as best you can. Rather than, hey, I haven't eaten for a week, please God send help, I'm not doing too hot. Please, I'm begging you, I will eat anything, I will eat dead rat. It's like, oh no. Bare necessities, three things: sustenance, rest, eating, boots. Starvation dissipates. Rest and relaxation. Rest and relaxation. So, drifters are not 24/7 people, regardless of who they are. They will need to rest to recover. They'll need to rest to recover and prepare themselves for the next day. Humans. Each of the drifters require each of the drifters require a quarter of the day to rest. Traditionally humans during midnight, and vampires during midday. Because rather, like, how I have things like timeline set up, it's rather than like, okay, it's like right in the morning to noon to night, then first half of the night, second half of the night. I kind of like switched it a little bit where it's like it's dawn, dusk, midnight, midday. That's kind of how it is. Humans during midnight and vampires during midday. When a drifter rests, actually, if a drifter gets a drifter is allowed to rest completely, they will make a 2D recovery check. They'll make a 2D recovery check and reduce wounds and reduce scars as necessary. And reduce scars by their phenotype. That's not quite right. By their background. Reduce scars by their background, otherwise known as vampire gets full night's rest. They mark off one of their things they're suffering from. They recover fully. They kind of get over whatever they're going through. Mark off. Humans reduce everything by 1. That's all it is. We'll make a 2D recovery check and reduce scars by their background. If they are not allowed to rest, If drifter's sleep is interrupted, such as an event or encounter, then they will not gain the recovery. They will not gain the recovery, but no further ill effects. If a drifter is not allowed to sleep, then they will take 2D. They will make a 2D 2D pain check. They'll make a 2D pain check. Make a 2D pain check per quarter of the day cycle until they can rest. Yeah, Kindred the Embraced. Kindred the Embraced is a beautiful disaster piece. I love it. I think it's a great show. Because it's so fucking weird. It's so painfully 90s. So agonizingly 90s. It's mwah. Honest to God, I've been thinking about what's the plot? It's like the most basic like Vampire the Masquerade plot available. Oh no, there's like literally the main character is a God, what's it? I'm not a Garu, Gangrel. The main guy gets turned into a Gangrel, and he's like, oh no, there's a mystery plot going on. He's like a detective cop person. Like, he's literally like this, like, he's like this detective cop, like, trying to solve vampire crime. Yeah, every Muruha is a mobster, every Gangrel is a biker. Like, because, no, the thing is, you gotta, like, here, I'll actually bring it up. Oh, it's great. Kindred the Embraced. So, it's so fucking goofy. 1996. Like it's such a goofy fucking show. Like these were like, I wonder if I can find like a good yeah, this was the Nosferatu Daedalus. Because they couldn't have, like, it's like, this is still like 96, so they couldn't have done a lot. You kind of see like, oh, all the bikers look the same. And it's funny, if you actually even look over here, you're noticing that they don't show the main character hardly, because the main character was this guy, was Mark Frankel with Julian Luna. That was like the original. Yeah, Vampire Clan. Actually, no, it wasn't Julian Luna. Where was he? It was the, yeah, Detective Frank. Where was he? It was like something really... Let me see. Yeah, Frank Koch. Yeah, right here. Frank was the main guy. That was the thing. He was the main, like, villain. But he wasn't, like, he was not the main villain, he was like the main character, but he wasn't the main character. Everybody loved Luna, though. That was like the big thing. Yeah, here we go. This is the, everybody loved Luna, though. The fucking Prince of the City, because he was actually a really talented actor. He was this really talented actor. He had a really well put together script, and he was a good Ventrue. He was a perfect fucking Ventrue, because it was effectively a mob story. The issue was this guy right here, he passed away. He got into a car accident, and it was such a fucking like weird. Yeah, no, Julia Luna was, that was the weird thing, because they always, like, they made the human detective the main character, but he was the least cool character possible. So they kept bringing, like, and Luna became the main character within the first season. Within the first few fucking episodes, the main villain became the main character because he was just that cool. Uh, Oh, why does the main most monster thing in the show too? Reporter tries to figure him out, so he buys her newspaper to shut down the story. Yeah, why is the... hey, Notepad, besides Nosferatu, what are your other top vampire clans? I am a See, I'm funny. I love Nosferatu. Nosferatu's my numero uno. Usually it's Ventru and then Toreador for me. Like, I like Ventru a lot because you can do a lot of different things with them. I really like Toreador because you can make them a lot more fun and you can make them a little bit weird. I've never liked Malkavians. That's the thing. I've never been a fan of Malkavians. The thing is, like, with Ventru, you can play Ventru in a variety of different ways. Like, I want to go against the stereotype. I want to embrace the stereotype. I can become a mobster. I can be this. A lot of stuff you can do it there. Toreador is kind of the same thing. Where you can do a lot with a Toreador in a bunch of different things. Like, if you just want to be an eccentric artist, cool. You want to be a rock star, cool. You can do a bunch of different things. It's also very easy to make a cover for Toreador that you never have to think about it too difficult. Being like, man, why are you always, why are you never awake during the day? Because I'm a midnight rock god, don't you know? I'm like, oh, okay, I understand. Or you can go a different way. My contentious pick is La Sombra versus Anna Zemitsky. Those would be my top 5. I really like Zemitsky's. Mostly because they're very weird and very... Which clan have the least RP potential? The absolute least. I would say, the absolute... See, it's kind of a 50-50... It's kind of be a toss-up between Malkavians and Gangrel. To me, anyway. Because the issue is with Malkavians, you need to be the bar is so fucking high to make a good Malkavian. Yeah, that's the issue. Like, to make a good Malkavian, you need to be a good Vampire the Masquerade player. You need to have a really, really good, player behind the Malkavian to make it work. It's really hard to do it. The issue with Gangrel is that a lot of their things, a lot of the beats with Gangrel also kind of get taken over by Bruja. That's like one of the things there, is that they can kind of get taken over by Bruja sometimes. So the Gangrel and Bruja sometimes don't get along, and there can be interesting bits there, don't get me wrong. I don't think any of the main clans are really bad. When you get to things like the Setites. Yeah, they sometimes do have a little bit of, crossover. Generally speaking, the best way to think about it, the way that I always like to portray Bruja, which is the idea of a Bruja is someone who is a fearsome person. They are a fearsome person, but everything is tempered with reason. Gangrel are kind of the opposite on the same coin. They are a fearsome person, not tempered by that. A Gangrel's gonna beat your ass. A Bruja's gonna beat your ass and tell you why. That's kind of the way I usually like to break them apart. Though you can play a stupid Bruja just as much as you can play a very smart Gangrel. It's kind of the back and forth in that regard. You also have Tremere. Tremere all belong at a cross. Every single Tremere belongs in the sun, as we all laugh at them. Every single one of them. Does not matter what they do, every single one of them belongs in the sun. Every one of them. Strap that bitch to a cross and laugh. I'm laughing. I hate the Tremere. I have never liked the Tremere. Yeah, they like that. Yeah, one or two groups that everyone hates. Like, the thing is, they keep why do people hate the Tremere? There's two reasons people hate the Tremere. is one, like role-playing them, you always have to be part of the chantry. I want to say it's chantry, but I know it's not the chantry. You always have to be part of like the Tremere group more than say like the Nosferatu are. And because of that, there's a little bit of limiting there, and they're the ones with the special blood magic who are like, ooh, cool, we have blood magic and shit like that. The other issue is, in the lore, mind you, in the lore, Tremere are kind of weird. Like, Tremere are weird in the lore because on one hand, they are the youngest clan. By far, they are the youngest clan, but they have the problem of diablerizing Slurby, which is the original Cappadocians. Cappadocians, right? That was no, it's not the Cappadocians, right? I can't remember. They pretty much diablerized the nicest, coolest vampires ever. They were just super cool vampires who just wanted to help people. They kept trying to be like, the Slurby are evil secretly. Oh no, look everyone, they're evil. Or they're bad, they have mind control and shit. But just like the way of being like, effectively, Tremere went in there, killed the vampire, vampire hospice. And, try to kill, they, not even hospital, they killed the fucking, like, vampire Red Cross. And then we're like, oh, we're so tragic. I'm like, shut the fuck up. At least the Giovanni kind of, like, pulled some bullshit. I respect the Giovanni. Like, I'm like, cool, you know what? I'm scared of the Giovanni, and you should be. I like them because of that. They don't fuck around. Tremere always felt like, they were always somebody at White Wolf's. Yeah, the gargoyles, exactly. It's White Wolves. Now, there was someone at White Wolf who really liked the Tremere. I think the main thing with Tremere was like they kind of kept trying to do. I think the idea of like, I like blood magic. Pro-technocracy, 100% of the way. They killed the vampire. Always remember that. That will always be the funniest thing, because the technocracy fucking nuked a vampire god using a death laser. That is canon, by the way. Like, that's one thing about the old world, about not Ascension. Ascension? I keep it is Ascension, not. I always get the mages ones mixed up, every single one. Yeah. Ascension is interesting because they present the traditions as like, oh well, we're all in this together, we're a big thing, and like, oh here, literally everybody is hippies. But then they actually present the technocracy and kind of how they do things. Like the technocracy are like really well put together, and I like the idea of the technocracy. They're not the way you should do things. It was one of those things like you made the bad guys too cool. Yeah, the traditions were weird because old World of Darkness mage was weird. I will always vote, mind you, I will always vote for Awakened. Awakened was a lot of fun. Awakened was a lot more interesting because instead of having like really strict different factions there, it was a little bit more amorphous. So it's like, yeah, we're all kind of working together, but like you can be part of the Adamantine Arrow, and you could be part of the Adamantine Arrow and still find people in the Adamantine Arrow you didn't get along with. It was more like these broad philosophical points rather than like a really specific thing that you were part of. I do like that more about Awakened. I think Awakened did that a lot. It kind of goes, it's kind of the nature of the beast. Yeah, because the thing is like, yeah, you can have more faction within faction. It did not. The issue is this is like the biggest issue with like New World of Darkness in general, and why people really dislike New World of Darkness was because of Requiem. I think Requiem was a good bad idea. Because the entire idea of Vampire the Requiem is that you got rid of all the fucking clans, but you only broke it down to some core ones. I'm trying to remember. There was Ventrue, Gangrel, Nosferatu, I can't remember what they were. Forsaken is better than Apocalypse. Deva, that's it. Like, See, they even cite Vampire VTM, not VTR. Yeah, you could see it. Let's see. Yeah, it was Deva, Gangrel, Julii, technically. Maquette. That was a Maquette, Nosferatu, and Ventrue. Yeah, there we go. Because the thing is with VTR is that it was the step in the right direction, and it makes complete sense of what they were doing. Absolute complete sense. Especially when you consider how stupid the fucking lore got in Old World of Darkness. Completely fucking stupid in the Old World of Darkness. Lore was getting really out of hand. And, like, I like the idea of VTR. That's the thing. I really like the VTR idea. Yeah, it's... because you get because each of the different vampires are actually parts of how to be a vampire. They're all different, drawn from different things. Because you get things like, oh, the Deva are supposed to be more like, oh, we're super sexy vampires. Like, we're all a little bit weird, we're all a little bit funky. Because you see, again, Toreador are technically a part of the Deva. The Gangrel are supposed to be like the really ferocious vampires. They're supposed to be fighters. They want to hurt you. They want to beat you up. They want to get a little bit more aggressive, and they kind of shift around that a lot more. You kind of see the Bruja are kind of got folded into them. Fuck the Julii. The Maquette are supposed to be like the really weird and like mystical vampires who do a bunch of the weird shit in there. Which they're the ones with like, oh, you have to take flaws, which are like traditional vampire flaws. Like, you can't cross running water, someone has to invite you into their home. Which goes into things like the Nosferatu, the really ugly vampires, versus the Ventrue, which are all a bunch of dicks. All of them are just assholes. And but you also get things like Malkavians. Like, that's the thing, like, Malkavians are technically a bloodline of, Malkovians. Sorry, everybody. Malkovians. Ugh. Which are technically there. Which, the idea behind this was a good idea. Here's the thing. It was a good idea. The problem was, it was the sequel to Vampire the Masquerade. Like, that's I think, is the biggest issue. Like, that is the massive, biggest fucking problem. It was the sequel to VTM, which a lot of people liked VTM, and the thing is, it did not have the in-depth storylines of VTM. I think that really fucked them up. Where it's like, I would say, of Old World, VTM does really stand on its own. It is its own beautiful disaster piece, and it's a lot of bigger struggle, a lot of bigger ideas, very fascinating. But like, I will always cite Werewolf the Forsaken to be better than Apocalypse. I like Forsaken a lot more because it's a lot more, rather than being a aggressive Greenpeace game, it has a little bit more, there's a lot more ideas going on with it. And I like the idea of Forsaken a lot more. I like Changeling. I never really vibed with Changeling the Lost. I think I didn't quite get it when I first read it. Not Changeling the Lost, Changeling the Dreaming. I liked Changeling the Lost because the idea was a lot stronger, in my opinion. I think later on it kind of got a little bit wonky. Hunter's one of those contentious ones. It's kind of like, what do you want in your Hunter game? Do you want to be a little bit more, do you want, the idea is, do you want your Hunter to be a badass, or do you want your Hunter to be a dude? You know, a dude in a situation. That's kind of the thing is, do you want to be a dude, or do you want to be a badass? If you want to be a badass, Reckoning's a lot better. If you want to be a dude doing things, then second one is a lot better. It's more, or yeah, it's kind of the idea of being like, you can play a hunter whatever the fuck it is. I can't even remember. My mind's fracturing at this point. You can play a VT, you know, you can play New World of Darkness Hunter. I can't remember the fucking name. I'm having a stroke. You can remember that. You can play that one as just a bunch of dudes fighting a vampire. How do you do it? There's a lot, the range is a lot more. You can't get in like conspiracies and shit like that, but you don't really need to. Reckoning is a lot more grandiose. Let's just say that. It's a lot more grandiose. And some people are going to love that, some people aren't going to. I do like the New World of Darkness. Promethean will always be one of my favorite things I've ever read. I love Promethean. And I even, honestly, one of those things like Reckoning OG, you know, has a dude system broken. The fact that you'd make it weird because it was fuck broken. Yeah. It's kind of like, yeah, there were a bunch of random, like the way that it was positioned was kind of weird because it was the 90s and you can do whatever you want with White Wolf. I like a lot more of the stuff in the New World of Darkness, but you also have you get a lot more extreme shit in New World because the Chronicles of Darkness. It's because you get a lot of extreme stuff, like the first edition Promethean book. Never read the second edition. Like, I love the original Promethean book because it's really well written. It's very grim. It's very saddening, and I would never play it with a group. Absolutely not. I have no idea why you would ever play Promethean. Thank you for subscribing, Lubu. Thank you very much, by the way. That's the fuck is Promethean? Promethean is yeah, you actually is Prometheum. Promethean is one where you've been resurrected. You've been resurrected and you kind of have to deal with that. There are, you know, like the Frankensteins, there are the Galateans, there's a couple other ones I can't remember. Tammuz, that was it. Because the thing is, Promethean is really cool because it is like really, it's a very somber game. Melancholy, I think, is a really good beat to it. Arguably, and Towards Dawn had some aspects of that kind of baked into it. The issue with Promethean is twofold. There's two issues. There's two major issues with Promethean. The first issue is there's a story to be told. There is a full story with every single thing you can do in that. And that's how the game is built. It's built on the back of that story in which you will, at the end, either become a human or die. That's really it. The problem is, spoiler warning, it's in the fucking book. It's been out for over a decade. I can say this now. Is you have to create another Promethean to get your humanity back. That's like a big idea. You must create another Promethean just as much as you were created. And it was actually really somber. It was really sad because this, like, I'd go through hell, and to actually save myself to, you know, become human again, I need to pretty much fuck somebody else's day up. I need to ruin somebody else's life so I can become human. And it's a really somber, sad moment. No idea why you would ever play that, though. Like, no idea. you also have the disquiet and it's the disquiet mechanic. The fucking disquiet mechanic really fucks your day up in Promethean, and it's like, because yeah, the thing is, like, one of the big things in World of Dark, like, and one of the things in New World of Darkness, especially Chronicles of Darkness, it's the thing with Chronicles of Darkness is they wanted to be more of a gothic horror toolbox, which was kind of one of the things that, if you recall, if any of you recall my video on Sigil and Sigil and Sanctuary, that was actually a big thing I was kind of poking at a little bit. Was like, this is a toolbox that does everything. You get everything you could possibly want with Chronicles of Darkness. If you want to play a slasher movie in Chronicles of Darkness, you totally can. You're going to pick up the Slashers book. You might pick up the Armory book if you want to be a little bit special about it, and you might pick up Innocence. If you pick up those 3 books and the core book, you will be set. You can play a full slasher movie game in that system. Easy. Yeah, that's kind of one of the issues there. And the issue is that it doesn't help that trying to differentiate themselves, they started running into weird bits. You ended up with shit like Beast. Beast was a mistake. What's Beast? Beast the Primordial was a mistake. I'm gonna make a video about Beast. The Curious World of Darkness is present. I might vote on it. I don't. The thing is, it's never been on the list because there's a few different things I want to talk about with it. There's a few different games I would want to kind of go over at once, so it's a little bit weird talking about it. I don't know how I want to structure it. That's the other big issue. The thing with Beast is, as a beast, how do I want to word this properly? Fuck. Is you're supposed to be like the primal terror of reality. That's kind of the idea. The basic concept is like, you're a primal terror. You are you're a dragon. You are a titan. You are a monster. You have a monstrous soul in your body, and that thing is trying to fight its way out. And you need to feed it. That's the thing. You need to feed that beast a little bit. And you're going to feed that beast by being a dick. Not like, I have to suck the blood of the living to feed my endless beast inside my heart. No, like, gaslight people, or like post mean comments on the internet. I'm not fucking with you when I say that either. It's like, you're just an asshole. Not like a fun, like, being I'm a evil vampire, or, I require the flesh of the living. Yeah, it's stalking people. It's terrorizing people. It's just making other people's lives miserable. Because that's how you feed. And the way that it's written is like, oh, well, you're a good person secretly for doing this. It's like, you're not. You're just an asshole. Like, you're just a dick. Like, yeah, like, to put it nicely, you just act like a cunt. Like, and I'm like, sorry Twitch moderation or whatever, but that's kind of how it is. You just are a terrible human being. You just are bad. Because the thing is, it's not like you can transform into a giant monster or something. Mind you, this came out in the 2010s. Yeah, this was a 2010s thing. It's when did Beast the Primordial come out? What? Yeah. Beast the Primordial came out 2016. Yeah, 2016. Jesus. Yeah. Beast is kind of Beast has been kind of gone down in the history books as a really weird fucking game. Yeah, it's still being sold. He got, yeah, that's, I wasn't wanting to like bring it up right away, but yeah, that's a big thing, and that's another factor of it, which if you talk about Beast at all, that has to be something I have to address, and I'm like, yeah, let's talk about that now, I guess. Oopsie doopsie. Because like the weird thing with Beasts, like the weird thing with Beasts is that like everybody's supposed to like you, like all the monsters like you because you're the super cool one, and they're supposed to work out together. It's the weirdest fucking thing. It's just bad. What's the deal with Mummy? Mummy does one of the Mummy's just weird. That's all I can really say. Mummy's just weird. There is no other explanation. I never really got into Mummy because it was such a bizarre fucking concept. But yeah, no, Deviant, I have heard extremes on both sides about Deviant. I've had people say Deviant's really fucking good. I've heard people say Deviant is worse than Beast. So it's kind of a like so yeah, that's why it's been a little bit funky wonky on that regard. Funkalicious as one might say. Check per quarter of the day cycle until they can rest. Just as important as the quality of sleep is just as important as the location. Quality of sleep is just as, if not more, important than actually resting. If the drifters may change their sleeping arrangements for a time to get better rest or lay low for a time, lay low for time. Okay. All of the above, or lay low for a time. We're gonna make a table here. Going to do that. I'm probably going to put something right there. We can put order. And we're gonna make a table right here. We're going to do we're going to do sleeping arrangement. Stability, recovery check. Sleeping arrangements, zero D. Actually, stability. Cold hard ground. Camping out. It's gonna be a 1D recovery. Hotel room. Nice sleeping. Uh. Lavish room. There we go. So it's kind of like the idea of being like, if you get a hotel room, you're gonna probably feel a lot better at the end of days. You know, like getting a hotel room is gonna make sure you sleep a lot better. You're gonna be able to recover a lot more consistently. Actually, I know. This is going to be an important note. I'm going to put this down here just for this particular situation. Of course, resting is also the ideal. Resting is not always just sleeping. It's a combination of relaxing and resting. A perfect opportunity to have some heart-to-heart discussions with those whom you have a bond with, whom you have an anchor with, Generally speaking, what I'm trying to put, the words I'm putting down here are pretty simple, which is hey, if you're in this situation, like resting isn't necessarily just you are asleep. It's more like you're very much like cooling down for the day. If that occurs, it occurs, and this is a good opportunity for you to actually get some of these bonds change, which is a lot easier. Which is a lot easier if you aren't actually like traveling. Someone doesn't need like you had to make a new World of Dark book, introduce a new X to the Ying. What would it be based on? Let me think. If you had to put a gun to my head, if you really had to put a gun to my head, it either would be literally Alien the Isle of Mowing, just like you're a bunch of fucking aliens, deal with it, and you have to deal with humanity and, you know, the Men in Black kind of thing, which would just be funnier than fuck. Or if you want to be a little bit more specific about things, let me think. They've kind of covered most everything. That's kind of the issue. That's one of the beautiful thing, like, for notepad, Alien the Isle of Mowing. I could see psychics. Psychics could work. Where's Shark the Buffet? Hey, I'll have you know the changing breeds do exist. We don't talk about the changing breeds though, but because it was written by a bunch of furries. Yay! Of course, resting is not always for sleeping. It's perfect time to rest and relax. Have heart-to-heart discussion with those whom you anchor with. That. Can I fit everything? I cannot fit everything here, but God, I wish I could. We do that. I can probably put a side note right here in case I need to. Actually, you know what? No, I can. Ooh. we go. We put that right there. And then we have our final thing, rest and recovery. Recovery. The final note is recovery. Actually, do we need to worry about recovery? We already kind of talk about it with rest and relaxation. I guess we don't really need to think about it too much. Sustenance and I guess we don't really need to. I don't think we need to talk about it because I talk about it already here with recovery and regaining stability. I guess we don't really need to discuss it as. I mean, I guess I could do. No. We already know how people recover their scars. We already know how that works. So I mean, yeah, this is just gonna be kind of an awkwardly sized thing unless I do some finagling. If I do some finagling, I could probably maybe not. You know, I'll probably put like a side note here. I can probably put a side note. Yeah, you kind of see it's such an awkward. It's just large enough. Unless I do something like this, for example. If I do that, can it fit? It will not fit. God frackin' damn it. It's super close. That's the worst part, I think. I mean, what if we do one? And I get this. Oh, it's already 8. Fuck. Make this any. Such an awkward. It's 2 fucking lines. Yeah. I mean, you do. It's not gonna help. You need to get 2 lines. Okay, so all they need to do is. Worst case, we need 1 more line. Starvation dissipates while 1 step every day. Has a meal. Starvation is reduced 1 step every day. A 1 step a day. Every day that a drifter has a meal. This means that a 2 meals. Starvation. There we go. This is really fucking tight. This is real. God, I got it though. Like, it's here, but oh goodness. Okay, I got everything here. I can guarantee you this is gonna freak the fuck out later and will not appreciate my bullshit. Let's see, can I bump this up by 2 spaces? I can. Oh god, that's painful, but alright, I think that should work. Pathologic the sickness. There we go. Pathologic RPG when. Give me the rights, Russia. I will do it. I will do it. Okay, so next we're going to move on to the more complicated part of this endeavor. Wasteland Survival Guide. rather than actually the drifters will be doing more than just driving from point A to point A to B. There's an entire land of opportunity, desperation, and savagery to explore. A little bit more like, oh goodness. I do know there's a pathologic board game. I was actually, when I was doing the video, actually, I stumbled across the board game, and I was like, oh, this is kind of cool. But yeah, no, it's like an actual full-on pathologic tabletop game. I think it could work. I know how I would do it. Notepad, how do you keep from burning out? Alcoholism. Though truth be told, they're solid. I've been feeling the burn a little bit, you could say. I do plan on, if I get this game done this week, which we're making pretty decent time, not great time, but generally speaking, I think we're hitting the point where it's gonna be like, all right, we're hitting a good pace with this. Most likely, I will take a week off for a media week. Nothing too exciting. There'll still be 2 videos, but I'm hoping probably take a week off after this game's done. Just no streams or anything. If I do a stream, it'll be like the table derby stream kind of thing. Something a lot more just to relax a little bit. If only just to keep myself sane. The most important thing to do with burning out is, and anytime you talk about people who burn out, how much time has happened after the last media week? It's been a while since the media week. I kind of counted my UK trip to be kind of a media week in a way. I kind of treated that as my media week, but it's been about 4 months since I've had a break. So I will probably just take a small break after this, kind of stretch out a little bit, get myself sorted out. Hopefully I'll actually be able to get my new job here soon, so that'll be fun. Everything should continue as normal though this week. Yeah, I it's have no fear, Archer. There's 2 things to know about the new job. 1, this is the big 2 things about the new job, which is I get to choose my own hours, which most of the time they say, hey, you're going to be working on like, Saturdays, Sundays, some days during the week. I'm like, okay, but I get to choose my hours in that regard. I get to choose what shifts I want to take. What will most likely occur is I will be doing like the every other week. Again, there probably won't be as many Saturday streams, and there may be a time where I have to like cancel a stream or something. That's just kind of expected. If it gets too bad, I might shift cases to a different time. But one thing they did effectively tell me is, oh hey, anytime you are working here, anytime you're here and working, there will be like I will have like 12-hour shifts at some points, but of those 12 hours, I will work 3 of them. Is it a strip club? No, it's a I'm doing events, and if there's only a certain number of events that are taking place, so they don't need as many people, but it's always good to have some. Most likely what I'll end up doing is doing a lot of stuff during the week. That'll be my goal in that regard. $18 an hour, pretty decent. Or again, getting told effectively, hey, you're not going to be working, like you'll actually be sitting on your ass. You'll have a 12-hour shift, but you won't be working for half of it. You'll be sitting on your ass reacting. Which is like, oh, that's awful. It's technically a part-time, but it's kind of weird in that regard. Of course, you know how it goes, you know how I operate, you know how we're going to be doing things, so take that as you will. No, that's a 12-hour shift. Yes, a 12-hour shift. Very different. The thing is, they cannot promise 40 hours a week. They can't promise that because there might just not be enough events going on that week. So technically, everyone is part-time, quote unquote. It's... Why are you doing? Why am I doing? I am doing because I exist. Oh, that's for the job title. Events. I'm an events guy. For lack of a better word, grunt work. It's fine. I'll meet a lot of people. I told them outright. I literally told them outright, being like, "This is a resume builder. Fuck you." And they're like, "Oh, okay. We respect the honesty." I'm like, "Hell yeah." It's what they do. It's a museum. Effectively, it's like a museum. They do conference. There's like a conference hall in there. They do a lot of weddings there. They do a lot of little things. It's like they primarily want me there for weddings. I've set up weddings before. It's like, this is pretty simple stuff. That's what I mean. It's a big museum. It's a big weird museum thing. It's hard to explain without doxing myself. But yeah, it's effectively a museum. But they have actually no, I can explain this. Effectively, it's two buildings. One of them is this really nice restored old building. And that really nice restored building has a massive fucking hall in it that people really love having weddings in. I don't know why. There's like 4 different mega churches in the area, but they wanna get married at the museum, which, cool, that's neat. I like museums. It's not like a full-on like legit museum, but it's called a museum. It's kind of, it seems like fun. We got one. I'm so happy. I'm so happy that I live like a few blocks down from the Baptist church. Not just the church, the Southern Baptist Church. When it's Sunday morning and you're walking by, you start hearing the clapping, and it's like, I feel the Lord. I feel Black Jesus flowing through my body. I am ready. I feel the Holy Spirit. I am ready. Like, I'm as white as can be, and I'm still feeling the love. I am ready. God is up there and he's a jive fucking turkey. I am in. You know exactly what I'm talking about too. If you know Southern Baptist churches, they're amazing. A good old fashioned black Southern Baptist church. I take that over any Protestant, like any like Methodist church any day of the week. Oh, they're fucking nuts. It's great. It's very animated, if that makes sense. It's very animated. Let's see. Black church is the crux of all Protestant churches. Yeah, no, it's like in the power levels of things, like a black Southern Baptist church, that is like peak power levels. How often they do their annual book burning? They don't. They're actually really not. They're like half church, half school thing. I actually kind of like them. They're really nice people. They host so many fucking of the in our area. They have so many of the homeless, the homeless shelter guys come by. because they hand out free meals all the time. Like, it's a big thing for them. Like, oh, here's a free meal. Here's a free meal. Here's a free meal. There's always seemed like such a chore to me. Some people really like it for the community. That's like a big thing about it. Like, it's that is a very big thing about going to church. It's not necessarily about going to church. It's going to church to meet Jim Bob, to meet Bill, to meet all the friends, to meet everyone there. Like, that's a very big thing. It's like, you can go, like, people, of course you can find religious people, but it's nice to be able to be like, meet people and you know, being able to be with community. Like, again, it's community. That's a big thing. I understand people on both spectrums. I'm not religious. Never have really been. Over time, I have shifted from my black-pilled atheism to more of a something is grand and wonderful out there, but I don't think it's the man in the sky, and I don't think it's anything like that. Because if we don't believe that there's a grand and wonderful thing out there, Jesus fuck, it's grim. Like, feminist frequency made me an atheist. I would ride a war train. We all would want to ride the war. Choo choo. It's, to me, there's beauty in this world, and we should embrace the beauty of the world. There's beauty and grimness. Fix their computers for free. Yeah. I try to get people to constantly try to get me to fix their computer. Yep, that happens. Yeah, there's an entire land of opportunity, desperation, and savagery to explore. During each quarter of the day, during the day cycle. Why? Only God could make a world with clowns this silly. Exactly. Save me, Superman. Yeah, it's like, that's what I'm believing in. Bring out Superman. During the day cycle. Let's see. During the day cycle, you could do this and not have me worried about Game Awards, so I don't need to have my headphones and, well, let's change that right now. Let me tell you about the no. And like, wow, God, sounds kind of silly, don't it? I try not to deal with religious matters too much. I respect people in their religion, and I say, you do you, boo-boo. Gonna go for the Jews. I thought you were gonna go for the Jews, not gonna lie. See, it's funny, I can always make fun of the, Also, isn't Old World Darkness really Christian-centric? Yeah, it is. But it's mostly, the thing is, it's Christian-centric the same way that something made in the United States of America is Christian-centric. Like, yeah, it's just because we just don't have as many as them. That's kind of the idea. You just don't hear about stuff like that as much. There's some which get a little bit wonkier, but they tried to fix it later on and it failed. During the day cycle, the drifters are allowed. During the day cycle, the drifters will find themselves. Let's see, find themselves in a variety of situations, sometimes of their own design. These are broken down. Get some sleep. These are broken down. Ooh. Sometimes of their own design. These are broken down. These are broken down into encounters. Actually, no. We want to. How do I want to word this? Actually, these are broken down into encounter. Actually, no, into actions. I guess we'll call it actions encounter action encounters and what's a good actions encounters, and pretty much it's like actions are like things that you choose, things chosen. Encounters are things happening. Then it would be no, it would just be actions and encounters, I guess. Broken down to actions and broken down into actions and encounters. Actions, action, actually drifting. The drifters will have the option for dedicating a part of the day cycle, or performing an action. This action will allow the drifters to actually, this action will in resources, recover, or prepare for the adventure in front of them. In front of them, or prepare for the adventure, or carefully. Let's see. Or prepare for the adventure more carefully. Each action can only be taken. Let's see. Each action can only be taken. Actually, only one action. Only one action can be performed during the quarter of the day quarter of the day cycle. Let's see, it can only be cycle. Only one action can be performed during the quarter of the day cycle, forcing the drifters to consider their options and prepare accordingly. However, doing this does not prevent performing an action will not disrupt eating. However, eating is not considered an action. Eating is not considered an action. So feel free to eat while on the job. I thought that would be important to make a note about, being like, yeah, you can eat during this time. Like, you don't have to like have a dedicated like 6 hours to eat or something. That's not how that goes. Let's see. So let's do basic traveling system. Ba-da-da-da-da-do-do. Good night. A simple game around corporate capitalism to survive the cutthroat world of upper management fucking over other people to make yourself richer. No, there is not that I know of. Unless you count corporation, but corporation's its own. Corporation's kind of its own thing. Let's see. Hunt for baubles. Okay, so let's do this correctly. What actions do we need? We need hunt for. We're going to be scavenging, hunting, mending wounds, mending, scouting. Let's see. Hunt, scavenging, hunting, mending, scouting. What else can we be doing during our adventure across the rivers? Why not? Let's open Twilight 2000's player manual. Twilight 2000, hell yeah. Let's see. Foraging. Scrounging. Technically we can technically driving is an action. Actually this does make it this is a group. Oh wow, I didn't even realize how bad that looks. This is a group action. Actually, you know what we can do? Group action. Meaning group. This is a group action, but one of the drifters. But the drifters are free. To rest instead, or do nothing. If do nothing if you wish, or do nothing, or feel free to rest. Or stand watch. Wish, however, eating is not considered an action, so feel free to eat while on the job. So this moves us into our basic actions and how we're going to be doing that. We're going to be inserting a table there. Did it? Have no fear, we have another table. Scavenging, hunting, scouting, driving, mending, mechanics. Let's see, scavenging, hunting, scouting, driving, mending, mechanics. Actually, when the drifters stop, they may choose one action of their choice. They may choose one action of their choice. We'll do that. How we're reading it. We'll give everybody one action, but we're going to take driving off, and we're going to do driving is going to be its own special thing. I have to put a note in there. Mechanics. Let's see. Scavenging, hunting, scouting, mending, mechanics. Actually, no, we can put, relax. Acquire, scavenging. Let's actually break these apart a little bit. So we're going to do the drifters start looking. Actually, no. Looking around the area for knickknacks, tools, equipment, or anything anything else which may be valuable, hunting, looking for wild game in wastes with a goal of finding and killing it for food. Taking the time to find a vantage point and scouting around the local area. For any uncovered, for any details or locations, mending, taking, boarding a, not taking, making the most out of the time, making the most out of a little, patching up any injuries, talking it out, or generally allowing, or generally patching up wayward scars, which is going to lead to rolling up the sleeves and getting to work fixing the car. It may not be glamorous, but it's the only thing they got. It's the only ride they have, which is going to do a moment of tranquility in the darkness. Yeah. Go. Because what we're going to do, we're already at 3. We're going to break this down into individual sections. I think that's going to be important for this. We're just going to give a brief understanding of what they're going to be scouting, by the way. We're going to give a brief understanding of what everything's going to be doing, and then we're going to do each and every one of them as an independent little section. Which is just because I feel it's going to be a little bit easier to do. So hunting, inquiring, mechanics, mending, relaxing, scavenging, scouting. Scouting being dead last is actually good. Scouting being last is a good thing. Actually. Middle, center. That. Then. White. Go. Mending, I don't know why you are mending, what are you doing? Mending, Mindy calling, Mindy. Mender! I'm not going insane, what the They're all there. Fuck is this? I wonder if it's just saying that. Okay, now it pops that. Okay, it pops up at 1. Don't know why it doesn't pop up at everything, but okay, you know what we'll do. Maybe not looks the best, but it'll save me losing my fucking mind. Notepad, do you have a chase mechanic or at least bandits on motorcycles? Later on, I'm going to be putting in some. When we get to the conflict section, I have to throw that in. We're probably not going to get to the combat section tonight. We're probably going to do that on Wednesday. Hunting the and let's see. It takes take the time out of the day to find prey in the area. It could be small game. It could be small game. It could be large game. Large game, or it can be anything in between. When hunting, the drifters will need to. When hunting, the drifters will need to make a what would be a good? It'd be a wilderness check, right? It would be a survival. We'll need to make a survival judgment. We'll need to make a survival judgment. Need to make a survival judgment. Equating the number of successes. Successes they score to the. Equating the number of successes they score to the following chart. Both there are putting the number of successes here. There are three types of terrain: lively, barren, and hostile. Each of these terrain types will have their own host of entities that own host of animals to hunt and find. They also define how difficult it is for the hunter to find suitable prey. Regardless of the outcome, the drifter will need to expend. God, how do I want to do this? No. We'll do it at the very end. There's a very important note I want to make with this one. That's going to then put you to Arvo. Drifter be a large. It could be a small. It could be a small animal, or it could be large, or it could large game. It could be anything in between. When hunting, the drifters will survival judgment. Depending on the number of successes they score to the following chart. Types of terrain: lively, barren, and hostile. Each of these terrain types have their own host of animals hunt and find. This is for the hunters to find suitable prey. If working together, if multiple drifters are hunting, choose to operate separately, or pool the resources in a group judgment. So it's kind of the idea, like, you can roll by yourself or you can try to pool your resource. That's kind of the big thing there. Like, generally speaking, if you are lower quality, you're going to wanting to do things a little bit more actively. Lower quality, work together. Higher quality, you can go your separate ways a lot more easily. Okay, so this is going to be, we're going to need to make 2 tables here. And first table is going to be right here, which is going to be terrain type, and difficulty, which is going to be lively, barren, hostile. Terrain difficulty is going to be 6, 8, 10. 10 for hostile. There's a very good reason why that. Okay, we're going to need to make a second terrain type. Second one. Yeah, no. Need to do. How do we want to do this properly? We're going to need to do. Going to put a left. We're going to do, it's going to be, put it above, merge these together. These are going to be lively hunting results. Lively hunting results. This is going to be margin of, it's going to be success margin. Success margin, results, actually, and no, description. This is going to be description, so this is going to be your success margin. This is going to be, maybe it's outcome, success margin 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 plus. We're going to be kind of detailing. Actually, we can probably do something like we can even do something like 3 plus, which is like the idea of lively is that it's a lot more likely that you're going to actually get food. You're going to get a lot more stuff. Actually, so if we want to do description, and outcome. Sorry if I'm not responding right away. Is there a way to Frankenstein shit together for short-term needs? Again, there's going to be a few different things. I could probably throw in another thing here. I might put that in under like a tinkering thing. Like you're just spending time trying to fix something up. It's a little. This is like one of those things with this game is that there's so many little spot mechanics, rather than just like strictly, fuck, I can even put tinker. That's not a bad idea. There's so many spot mechanics, which is just not necessarily like, oh, this is like a thing that's definitely needed. It's like, okay, I need this for this very specific reason. It's like, oh god. Okay, no. Let's see. So description and outcome. Disaster strikes. The hunter has run afoul of a beast who has decided to hunt them. Who has decided to hunt them? A few small game. Nothing truly impressive. Nothing truly impressive. A few small game, nothing truly impressive. Actually, a few small catches, nothing impressive. 1d2 food. 1d2 food stuff or 1d2 baubles. 1d2 food stuff or 1d2 baubles. 1d5. It's gonna be 1d. It's gonna be 1d5 food stuff or 1d or baubles. A good catch. Big haul. A great catch. Enough to keep the group to keep the group fed. Keep the group fed and a little extra for potential trading. 1d10 foods. 1d actually we'll do 1d5 plus 2 plus successes. Food. 1d5 plus additional successes, food stuff. And 1d5 baubles. There we go. Not 1d6, 1d5, because we only have d10s here. 1d5 baubles. So it's kind of let's just do a quick example here, just so we understand. For example, rolling 5 successes. Rolling 5 successes would be 1d5. 1d5 plus 2 would be 1d5 plus 2 food stuff. The rolling 3 food stuff just means you get the and right here. That's the important thing. You get that and. So at first you might be rolling like 5. Let's just say for 5. Let's say for if you're rolling in the lively area, I scored 2 successes. So I got a decent catch. I get 1d5 food stuff. So let's see. I get I would end up with 3 food stuff. Actually, no, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah, 3 food stuff. Or 5 baubles. So it's like, okay, I can choose 3 food stuff or 3 baubles to kind of like barter off. That's kind of the idea of baubles. It's just stuff that you can sell off. They're not really great. Like, that's kind of the issues. It's like they're not really fantastic. Notepad, when was the last game you were a player in an RPG? Do you think it's wrong to use generic toolbox system just to get a game going like Fate? There's nothing wrong with using toolbox systems. Last time I was a player, like 2 weeks ago, because I'm in a game right now actually, and I'm having fun with it. My friend had to take some time off because he's not feeling too hot, but we hope to get that started back up at the beginning of next month. And my throat is officially killing itself now, so I'm going to see if I can't get some of the hunt. I'm going to try to get the hunting section done, and then I'm probably gonna head off. Which leads to Baron hunting. Actually, no. We'll do flesh from stone, meat from stone, feast from stone. Probably, yeah, flesh from stone. You get nothing. That's kind of like one of the issues here is less like you do not get a lot of stuff here. Actually, we can even say like, Let's see. So a few small catches, nothing impressive. 1d2 food stuff or baubles. Baubles. Good catch, enough to feed the barely enough to keep it going. Maybe enough to feed the entire crew. Maybe enough to feed the entire crew, and this is going to be 2D. It's going to be 3D2. So you have so it's pretty much if you score one success, you're going to end up with like 1 to 2 food stuff. Like you're not going to, it's barely worth it to do this. If you are in the roll in there, you're going to roll 3D2 food stuff. You'll roll 3D2 food stuff, so you have a chance of 3 to 6 food. Like, good, not actually no, it's just going to be 2D2 food stuff. 2D2 food stuff and 1D and 1 bauble. Like it's like just and a bauble. Like you're barely getting nothing here. Hunting in barren areas is not really that useful for what you're going to be spending it on. Great catch, even though group is fed. It's going to be 4D2 food. It's going to be 3D2 food stuff. 3D2 food stuff and 1D2 and 1D baubles. Flesh from stone, meat from stone, feast from stone. What's me? Large cat's out this far. A large catch out this far. It must be a lucky day or an exceedingly unlucky one for this thing. Let's see. We're going to be doing 2D5. It's going to be 2D5, so you actually have some chances for food. Food stuff and 1D. It's going to be and 2D2 baubles. Which is then going to get into hostile hunting results. Horrifying disaster. 100 run foul beasts who decided to hunt them. It's dangerous game. Dangerous game. 1 to 2. The hunter has found themselves face to face with dinner. Its teeth are bared. Make a combat judgment. At a TN, we'll do TN 6 or 7. 7 or 6. 7 or 6. 6. A footnote. 7 for success margin. 6 for success margin 1. 7 for success. If successful, 2D. If successful, 2D5 foods, 2D5 food stuff, and 1D10 bauble and 1D10 baubles. If failure, 1D10 pain. 1D10 pain. Actually, it's going to be a 2D pain, 2D pain to stability, and 1D pain to a wound. There we go. Exotic dinner. Let's see. The prey animal is a little more than dinner out here. The hunter prepares the shot and 2D. It is going to be 1D 10 plus 2 food stuff, and 1D5 and 1D10 and 1D10 baubles. Let's see. Forgotten beast limps home. Barely able to stand and fat off their battle picking. Easy pickings. It's going to be 2D10 food stuff and 1D10 baubles. Go. And now I just wonder if the hunters run up against the grizzly bear or another feral vampire. The big thing there is that if you do fuck up the roll, it's like, yeah, the thing is, it's not impossible to fuck the roll up, because that's the big thing. You kind of see the terrain difficulty here, especially when it's hostile terrain. Because if it's hostile terrain, you quite literally need to score 10s on your die. You have to score 10s. Unless you have something to reduce the difficulty by. You are much more likely to roll disasters here. And disasters are, you're walking through and something's going to try and eat your fucking face. It's like, oh, there's a giant monster that wants to eat me. I should run away from the giant creature that wants to eat me. But that's kind of leading into, the unique aspect about hunting. The unique aspect about hunting is hunting requires tools of the trade. Most notably a weapon of some variety. If the drifter is using a ranged weapon, they may expend ammunition. They may expend ammunition to lower the difficulty by one. To actually be and that's Fortune favors the bold. A favor, yep. May expend ammunition to gain one favor. Which may, using a ranged weapon, they may expend ammunition to gain one favor. Favor, making it up to a maximum of gain one favor. This can reduce the hunt. This can reduce the hunt's difficulty to half its full value. Should the required amount of ammunition be spent. So the idea here is, let's say for example we are in a hostile location. I can spend 5 ammunition to lower that down to just difficulty 5, but that's me burning through 5 whole reloads of ammunition. That's me using a fucking Kalishnikov and burning through 3 mags. That is, the thing is there, it's not one piece of ammunition is like 1 bullet. It's one ammunition is a full reload of a gun. It is a full amount of ammunition. That's money to a lot of people. You're burning money. And it's like, oh, fuck. And especially if you just don't roll very well. That's another that's kind of an issue. If you burn 5, you bring it down to 5. And we're like, all right, cool. Brought it down to 5. Let's roll what I get here. I've got 1, 2, 4 successes. Cool. I've got an exotic dinner. We've got 3. I rolled the 1. 3 food stuff and 5 baubles. We totally did not make our money back doing this. We have food stuff now, barely any food stuff, but we did not make our money back. We did not make that back at all. In fact, we are very poor still. Oh no. That being kind of the idea there. It's like, it's opportunity. That's all it is opportunity cost. If you burn that ammunition now, you might get some food, and if you're really desperate, you can. But generally speaking, you can reduce it down to like 3. You can do 3, 4, or 5. That's 3 ammunition, 4 ammunition, 5 ammunition, which you need to do. Let's see. Hunting tools of trade, most notably a weapon of sobriety. Required ammunition be spent. It is also assumed that the it's also assumed that hunter prepares most of the food for traveling or at least eating. Feast at the end of a hunt is always appreciated. Hunted, which we're going to put a quick side note in here. Side note. Hunting for blood. You may notice that you can't get blood. You can't get blood from hunting. You may notice you can't get blood from hunting. This is due to most vampires being appalled by drinking animal blood. As it's roughly considered the same as drinking unpasteurized. This would be same. Let's see. It's roughly considered the same as eating raw meat. If a vampire is is truly hungry, vampires truly hungry, they may convert while hunting. Truly hungry while hunting, they can forgo the food stuff and baubles. They can forgo the food stuff and baubles, and instead they can forgo the gain one blood for whatever they manage to kill, and instead gain 1d2 minus 1 blood. They can forgo the food stuff and baubles, and instead of gaining food stuff, they may instead take 1d pain. They'll take 1d pain. There we go. Generally speaking, you aren't hunting for blood. It's not like that's kind of the issue. Is blood is scarce. It is by far the most valuable resource available. We can probably post. We'll probably get an image right here. Actually, if we do this, we can slap an image like right here. So this would just be the hunting section. So next we need to do inquiry. I'm gonna call it there because my throat's giving out and I'm very tired. So let me just do a quick check on my conversation. I try to post-apocalyptic currencies. Still wrong to some. Is it still wrong? Is it wrong to still steal something like this that's been given up for free to make your own game, which you may put out for free? What if Hunter get a bauble from whatever they kill, at least skin crawls or holes or antler? Is a hunter get a bauble from whatever they kill at least? Yeah, pretty much. That's kind of the idea of baubles. Baubles are just sellables, effectively. They're things for you to barter. And since there really isn't going to be like a strict currency, it's kind of the idea of having a few baubles are kind of like your way to balance out the economy in some ways. It's like you could always kind of just hand baubles to somebody, being like, yeah, we don't really know how much this is going to go for, but it's something, you know, in the grand scheme of things, because the Tsarists do not want because ration card, the main currency of the Union is ration cards. You can buy a single can of soup for 1 ration card. You can buy a blood pack for 3 ration cards. That's what you're paid in. You're not paid in money, you're paid in ration cards. Everything in the economy is built around the ration card economy. Nobody else uses fucking ration cards. So it's like being part of the Union does have its benefits because you always are going to get food. And it's like, maybe that's a good idea. Tsarists use silver clinks, but the Tsarists aren't recognized everywhere, and some people just don't have the number. And the idea is a lot of people don't use clinks because they're actual silver. It's more of like upper noble money, so nobody wants to use it. Peasants don't use it, so it's not even like valuable to have in some cases. So it's kind of there's a little bit of the barter economy. I do plan on, you know, up above, I'm gonna have to put 2 notes in there being like probably the most important piece of the economy. If you want like an actual piece of money, or I put it in, I'll either put it above or put it in the yes, communists reinventing money. Yeah, effectively, that's kind of the joke. Is it's like, yeah, they're just tied their currency to soup. Because one of the big things what I do plan on doing, it's and I don't know what else I don't know what to call it. That's been kind of the thing I've been thinking about is one of the main currencies everywhere is the vodka dollar. Can I buy a bottle of vodka with this? And it's backed by vodka. Potato vodka, plum vodka, doesn't matter. It's just backed by liquor. That's what that's kind of like what the standard wasteland currency is the ability to buy vodka off people. Kind of like how caps and Fallout and stuff like that used to be just for the water merchants. I've been debating on what to call it, because I don't think calling it a ruble would work. The vodka ruble. I've been thinking about the vodka dollar would work, but also kind of doesn't work at the same time. But yes, the plan is tomorrow we're going to be working on. I'm going to do the Catboy Thule video, which is going to be fun. The vodka the leader. Honestly, calling it the leader might be funny. We should have never taken our money off the soup stand, and the vodka stand is killing us. 151 Levy equal Levy. But yeah, no, it's literally that idea. Is like vodka became such a commodity that it has become the currency, and that's kind of the joke. You drink your money, but hey, it's you eat your money, right, for the communists. But yeah, no, we're going to I'm gonna call it there. Godspeed, good luck. Hope you all have one for the rest of your night. As you can tell, my throat is dying, and I need to save that for when I talk about Catboys for far too long. You so and damn swear. You so and damn answer my question. Is it right or wrong? It's fine. Like, make sure to cite it. That's the big thing. Solid. Make sure to cite your sources. Catboys, yes, I got paid to write a game called Catboys of Thule, or the magical, and it's the Catboys of Thule. I can't remember the full name. Yeah, about ANCAP Catboys. I got paid money for this, and I've just lost the plot of my life. You should know this by now. I'm sorry, everybody. I don't get to have nice things. I get Catboy narco dollars. All right, I am away.